I think a lot of times we go into situations thinking, I am going to make myself fit in the box that they present to me, right? Especially when it comes to work. You see a job, it has these requirements. You think, I need to then tell them how I fit these requirements. A big thing that drove my success is I kept what I want to do and who I want to be in all of my conversations. So my name is Keegan St. I am a senior learning and development specialist at Cvent. That's the company I work for. Basically what I do on a day-to-day basis, Cvent is a events management company. We build software that helps people create and build their events and applications. We also offer white glove services as well. We have over 4,000 employees globally. We've managed about 5 million events. So my job is to teach businesses, organizations, how to use our products and our platform to execute their events as successfully as possible. So that could be anything from sitting with a client for 8 hours or 2 days or 2 hours and just going through how to use software, basically. So that's kind of what I do. I'm from the Virgin Islands originally, so I am a West Indian import. I'm from the British Virgin Islands originally. I moved to Glasgow for university, decided I love it here. So then I moved down to London, and that's where I've been ever since. So I've been about 11 years in the UK now. We are a global organization, so we are everywhere that you would have an event, right? So our headquarters are in Tysons, Virginia in the US. We have a European headquarter here in London. We have offices in India, Singapore, Japan. We are everywhere. So I am in charge of training Europe, the Middle East, and Asia. So I kind of travel around, mostly in Europe, but also in Asia, the Middle East as well. Like I said, I'm from the Caribbean, so growing up, I'm a single or only child, so education was super, super important. Part of the reason I came to Glasgow was I wanted to study risk management. I worked in financial services back home. In the Virgin Islands, financial services is our heavy hitter. Most people work in either tourism or financial services. That's kind of the paths we take. So I was in financial services. I worked for an insurance company, decided to further my education and come to Glasgow to do risk management. Then I moved down to London to do a master's in risk, disaster, and resilience. Unfortunately, while I was studying, my mom got sick, so I had to go to Miami and take care of her for a little bit. And that kind of changed the trajectory of what I was doing because one, it made me realize that I didn't necessarily want to do what I was doing. I was stuck in I'm doing what I kind of was just doing, and I was kind of following that trajectory. But after my mom got sick and I came back, I realized actually this might not be where I want to spend and invest my time.
Yeah.
So as a customer success advisor working with Invisalign, that's a braces company. They basically, those clear aligners that all these celebrities have. So it's that company. And I worked with them for about a year and a half, almost 2 years. Really enjoyed the work, really enjoyed the people I was working with, but I was doing customer success, right? So I was helping orthodontists to make the best out of their business. Not really what I really wanted to do, but I was trying to figure it out. And while I was working there, a small part of my job was teaching and training the orthodontists on how to use Invisalign's software. Really like that part of the job. So that's kind of what I did. Started to get promotions and things, and it was going great. Again, not super focused on what I wanted to do. I really didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, but I knew that I liked that little training piece. Unfortunately, Invisalign decided that they were going to move their head office from London to Birmingham. So I was faced with okay, do I move to Birmingham with this company or do I try and find something else? We had about a month and a half to kind of figure that out while they were in transition. And I started applying for work and I got some customer success jobs as well, some interviews for those. But I also interviewed for training jobs because that little sliver of training, I realized is what I really enjoy doing on a day-to-day basis. So I was trying to parlay that into a new career, so to speak, for myself. But without that training experience, so I didn't have a job that said, Keegan is a trainer, right? My job was Keegan's a success advisor. Keegan helps with client services and client success, not training. So had a lot of interviews, got an interview at Cvent, the job that I'm currently working in now. And luckily, I was able to kind of parlay that into where I am now. So that's my trajectory in a nutshell. Really kind of started in the BBI, came for school in one thing, kind of followed that track through my part-time work and in my career. But that kind of moment of, hey, life's a little short, you might want to try and do what you want to do, kind of made that switch for me, leaving school and going into work and really trying to focus on a career. I think a lot of times we get so bogged down in what we're doing, right? I have been doing this for 5 years. To do something else is not only difficult, but not even in my frame of mind. So I was in the Virgin Islands. I should have said I worked as a customer success and insurance administrator in the Virgin Islands as well for a few years. And I was good at it, had a few promotions, but my world was the Virgin Islands. It's about 40,000 people in the entire country. That was my existence, right? And my mom and my mentor, I'm a bit of a mom's boy as well. Like I said, I'm an only child. So it's always just been she and I. And my mom she's a teacher. She taught my boss at the time. And they kind of got together and pushed me to leave the Virgin Islands. And the kind of key to that was their thought process was, okay, you're good here, but you could be so much better doing things outside of just what you are familiar with. So they kind of pushed me to go to Glasgow and start my education. So I'm really, really grateful for my mom and calling her by name, Kishma, from the Virgin Islands, for really having that push to just be like, get out, really spread your wings and do your own thing. Yeah, so I'm a member of the Diversity Role Models. It's an organization, it's a charitable organization, and what we do is we go into schools. It's kind of oriented or surrounded around LGBTQ and people from lower income backgrounds, and showing students in school that whatever you're going through now, there is a path through it. And we are the tangible evidence of that, right? So we go into schools, we have talks with the kids, we talk about being good allies to kids, we talk about being comfortable with yourself. But I think, to me, the biggest thing in that organization is just showing the youth that there is a path through whatever you're going through. They might be having the best experience, they might not be, but it's always really good to see someone who was where they are and where they are now. At Cvent, we also have other similar organizations like that, and we have a mentorship program. We have internships for kids coming out to school as well. But outside of Cvent, yeah, I am a diversity role model. It's a really important thing. Two things, right? The first advice is continue. Don't give up. Keep trying. I think for me, when I was going through, especially when my mom got sick, I went through a period of really trying to figure out, when I came back to the UK, when I came back to London, really trying to figure out what my purpose was. And one of the things that I identified was, like I said, training, right? I actually liked that training. I wanted to parlay it into something else. I didn't have training experience. I didn't have formal training experience. And one of the things that I did was I started to apply for training positions, even though I was not a qualified trainer. After applying for a lot of jobs, and I'm talking 40, 50 jobs between training and customer success, didn't get any interviews, callbacks for any training positions, but customer success, because I was doing that for years, lots of callbacks for that. At Cvent, I actually applied for a customer success position. And in talking and going through the interview process, I kept at the forefront what I wanted to do and who I am. I think a lot of times we go into situations thinking, I am going to make myself fit in the box that they present to me, right? Especially when it comes to work. You see a job, it has these requirements. You think, I need to then tell them how I fit these requirements. A big thing that drove my success is I kept what I want to do and who I want to be in all of my conversations. So when I was going through the interview process, I talked a lot about the things that I like doing in the role that I had. And most of the things that I like doing was training, right? So I was having a meeting with one of the managers. Her name is Marin, one of my favorite people. And I was talking about training being, I love talking about software. I like taking people from I don't know to I am an expert. And she said to me, we are having a position. It's not open yet, but we're going to be having a training position. It's the first training position in Europe. And I think you'd be a good candidate for it. She said that. I met with the training manager like 2 weeks after or the next week. And then I had the job in like 2 weeks after that. And I think the most important bit of advice there is one, to keep going. I had to do at least 60 interviews or at least 60 applications before I got to Cvent, right? So that's the first thing. Keep going. It seems like a lot, but keep going. Generic, but important. But for me, the thing is, if you continue to talk about who you are, talk about what you want, right? People say fake it until you make it. I won't say fake it, but be honest and authentic in these are the things that I want. This is what I want to achieve. And 5 years from now, it might not be 100% where the job is going to be in 5 years that I am applying for or going for, but this is where I want to be. And people will see that. People will see your passion. People will see the authenticity, and the opportunity will come to you. It mightn't come immediately, but it will come if you keep that in the front of your mind. So those would be my two biggest pieces of advice, right? Keep going, even though you've been knocked back, but also keep in your mind where you want to be, who you want to be, what you want to do, and just keep talking about it. Put it into the universe, and the universe always sends it back around.